I made some notes here. First of all, I would like to thank Emmett Brown and the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame for such a wonderful opportunity. And I want to thank my good friend Larry Bowling for just a beautiful introduction. Of course, Larry and I have known each other for many, many years now. And it's always fun to see Larry. I see him mostly in the wintertime for coffee because, you know, he's getting up there in the years. And he doesn't just, you know, he's a nice fisherman to the max, but not as much as he is in the summertime. So I'll see him a few times a week for coffee, and it's always great because he's always got great insight. And I certainly always enjoyed doing his and Mark's radio show on Bear Facts and Fishtails, and always had a lot of fun with those guys. And I also want to congratulate my friend Butch Furtman. He's an icon, and I've been watching Butch since I've been a kid. In fact, he said he started guiding in 1959. That was the year I was born. But where he's a little older, going on 40, I'm 54, going on about 75. So. You know, Larry was talking about, you know, marking, etc., etc., etc. I got to tell you right off the bat, I drew my inspiration from my uncle Butch, Fred B. Butch Lassard, who was a famous guy in our neck of the woods. Butch guided since he was a kid. His father, and my mother's father was a commercial fisherman on Ranier Lake back in the teens and the 20s and so on. So we have a long history that goes way back. Anyway, to know Butch, you know, I can sum him up in a few words. He was just so much fun, and you know, you don't always catch a ton of fish every day. I mean, that's just not the way it is. Anybody that fishes knows that. But Butch's customers always came in happy, and that's what inspired me. Because you know, after watching, I started guiding with him when I was young, 13 years old, and following him in a boat and watching him, and I'd see other guides come in and customers with scowls on their face, but when Butch came in, there was always laughs to be had, and so you know, he just had a good way with customers, kept it light and everything. In fact, I asked him one time, I says, Butch, what's the secret to your success? And he says, well, make yourself the hero in every story. That certainly added to what everything was all about. And, you know, there's a quote that I like that I read along those lines, maybe. It says, well, this was written a long time ago by a fellow by the name of Henry David Thoreau. He said, many men go fishing all of their lives without knowing that it's not fish they are after. Well, let me tell you, I've had more than my fair share of those guys in my boat. I mean, fishing is fishing. You know, I just love being in the boat. I love being with people. Everybody's got a story to tell. You know, it's like taking a trip without leaving the farm. And you know, I probably wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for Ranier Lake, because I'll tell you, Ranier Lake is like, well, it's got thousands of beaches and bays and coves and islands, and it's a very diverse fishery. It's so beautiful that you can actually bullshit your way through a day. It's just one of those deals. You know? It's the easiest place to guide that you could ever hope. And Butch, my friend Butch Furtman mentioned that earlier. Ranier Lake it's a great fishery, and it's come back so much. In fact, the other day we caught 30 crappies. Biggest one was 14.5 inches. But no, it's what makes the guiding is the people I've met. I see my friend Stevie Reeves over here. I grew up with him, and he's brought me so many customers over the years since I ever started my business, and we're childhood friends. And to see him and Howard and Neil and just so and Kenny and so many friends and family here, it's just been great. And anyway, I can't imagine not guiding. It's the best job I've ever had. Probably the only job I've really ever had. And I don't know if, you know, as long as I can get in the boat and get it started. And I always have 2 bilge pumps, so I don't worry about it sinking that much. As long as that all works out, you know, we'll be all right. And anyway, guiding to me is like taking a trip without leaving the farm. You know, you learn about other occupations that people do, geographic locations, the customs, the cultures. You know, occasionally you have to listen to a confession. You know, that's just the way it is. You know, heart psychiatrist. And and when you do listen to those confessions, all you have to do is, you know, take 3 casts and don't hit the shore. That'll usually get them through the day. But all in all, you know, I just feel very fortunate. I got a wonderful wife, Leanne, that used to guide with me, like Larry mentioned, and she was probably the better angler. And she won't say that because she's so modest, and so I don't try to get her to say it. My two sons, Bro and Mac, are very understanding of me being gone all day fishing, and hopefully one day they'll like it as much as I did, and just very fortunate to grow up in such a neat little community of Ranier. It's 200 people right on the shores of Rainy Lake, Rainy River, and you can fish offshore and catch fish, and just a fun place to grow up. I've been very fortunate. I'm very thankful for this award. I mean, I couldn't have ever dreamed of it, and I would like to accept it on behalf of all the great fishing guides that have been on Rainy Lake. There's been a ton of them. I'm just way down on the list, but I'm here. And so, with that in mind, thank you very much, and thanks to all my friends and relatives. I got a big family came all the way down from International Falls. I suppose I'd have to give Wayne and Marianne a prize because they flew all the way up from Mexico. They were on their vacation, and they gave it up to come here. What fools! April never going to show up. We're going straight to fall. Anyway, no, thank you so much. I'm very honored, very proud, and I just want to thank my family and friends and all you folks for coming up. And I see the Grizz out there. And the last time I fished with the Grizz, my wife had some Cornish game hens in the oven, but we got to drinking too much of that pink wine, and she threw the Cornish game hens in the garbage. Hey, Grizz. All right, thanks everybody. That's why I came out here.